Welcome to the All In Kosciusko podcast. I'm your host, Matt Deuel. Today we're talking about housing and why it matters so deeply to the future of Kosciusko County. Housing is not just about buildings. It's about whether people can live here, work here, stay here, and build a future here. It affects workforce, quality of life, economic growth, and the kind of community we are becoming. In many ways, this is one of the clearest examples of what All In Kosciusko is about: connecting people, places, and progress. In this episode, we're joined by Jeremy Skinner, Community and Economic Development Director for the City of Warsaw, and Don Wilkinson, Director of Projects and Operations at KEDCO. We'll also hear from two developers helping bring major housing projects to life in our community. Let's jump in. Don, Jeremy, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for being here. All right, so let's just dive right in. So, Jeremy, Warsaw has been growing for a long time, much like the state of Indiana. And from your perspective, as we think and we start to dive into this subject of housing, what would you say are some of the biggest factors that bring us to where we're at today, just working through a housing shortage?
Yeah, so we're not abnormal than anybody else. I think after the 2008 housing crisis and the crash of the markets, we are faced with the same issues that a lot of communities were faced with. Was the shrinking funding that was available. There was a lot of builders and there was a lot of developers that never came back after the housing crisis. They either lost their businesses or they went a different direction because the supply and demand led them to have to make different choices. So when all that happened, we went from the 2005 to 2007, 2008, building somewhere in the 70 homes a year to almost cutting that in half down to like 30, a little over 30 homes a year.
Yeah.
And when that happened, not only just on our scale, but on a national scale, there began to be homes not being built, segments of the population not getting their housing needs met, and that compounded over a 10-year period. During that housing crisis that extended from 2008 almost to about 2014, 2015, we were not building the amount of homes needed to meet most of the different economic segments of housing. To the point of, on a national scale, I think it was somewhere in the 750,000 homes not being built every quarter to meet the demand.
Wow.
So you fast forward to where we're at now and trying to upsize that or right-size that ship that was on its path over the last decade. And we began trying to create more housing opportunities around 2015, 2016, because we knew we wanted to create more housing units. We have a lot of people that come in to work in Warsaw, but then they leave. On a daytime average, we have 21,000 people that come to work in Warsaw, and only 16,000 live here.
Okay.
And only 7,000 of those 21,000 work here. So of the 16,000 people that live here, only 7,000 of them work here.
Wow.
So we have, somewhere in that 14,000 range of people that come in to work here every day but don't live here. So we were trying to figure out, how do we correct that? How do we create housing opportunities, which has led us to the creation of the two residential housing districts, the north and the south, trying to create housing opportunities, led us to the three mixed-use projects that we've been working on, the Millworks and the Union Station Lofts and the Buffalo Street project, led us to three affordable housing projects in the senior housing, the Little Crow Lofts, and then the recent 2525. So all of those projects that we've been working on are kind of culminating into us creating more housing opportunities, which has led us to with some population growth for sure. But at the same time in doing that, we're still out there creating jobs that need more housing.
Right.
So with Slate and AutoCam Medical coming in, that's just more housing demand that we need to try to figure out how to create more opportunities. And every day I go into the office with the same mentality, and we are actively talking to 3 or 4 developers now, talking about instituting a plan for the south side of Warsaw that could look at 300 or 400 housing opportunities down there. So all those things that we talk about, we're trying to actively create in these new developments.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of catching up to do from the last decade. And with that, something that you can't do alone, we can't do alone. And that's a big part of even what, Dawn, you all are doing at KEDCO and some of that job creation and some of those pieces. So, Dawn, talk to me about, as we think about the county as a whole, outside of Warsaw, we have just a number of wonderful communities, smaller communities. What are some of the challenges that they are facing kind of in this topic of housing?
Certainly, yeah. So we do have a lot of smaller communities that have really unique characteristics. We've all heard Carrie Groninger, one of our commissioners, say there are so many different kinds of ice creams in our county.
Yes.
Different flavors, different communities.
Yes.
So each of them wants to grow, has the need to grow, and many different obstacles they face. One of them would be land. They need to obtain land adjacent to their community. Sometimes that can be a really big challenge. Financing, obviously, is another issue. Getting a developer to come there, you need to make the property very appealing.
Yeah.
So we need to work on how do we capital stack a project so that it's appealing for a developer to see that they can build something in a smaller community and still make their margins on a property. So it's a math game that we have to play. But we're being helped along the way by Club 720, Mission Build, and the Housing Hub out of Fort Wayne that are helping us with a lot of different initiatives with these smaller communities.
Yes.
The other thing I would say they face and that KEDCO is happy to help them with is just an administrative level, right? These smaller communities are run, they have a much smaller budget than the city of Warsaw. Obviously, they have a lot less, constituents.
Sure.
Typically, they have maybe a full-time clerk and not a lot of government infrastructure.
Yeah, right.
So we're there to help them along the way and kind of say, here's how we can help you make this happen in your community. So we've been very fortunate in a couple of our communities that are moving forward. Pierceton and Claypool both have what we're going to call catalyst sites for these different developments. And so we've had in each instance a landowner that is philanthropic, tied to the community, wants to be a benefit to that community. So in some instances, we've gotten land gifted to the community. That landowner is going to be a developer partner and then gift the land. So that helps us buy the cost down. In another instance, we have a land swap we're working on with a landowner so that that town can obtain that land and then gift it to the development so that the cost of the development is less.
Yes. Awesome.
So lots of different nuances to the obstacles they face.
Right.
But we're working with them side by side to make those things happen.
That's great. So it sounds like just some creative problem solving.
Definitely.
In some areas that need some infrastructure help. Yeah. Awesome. So good. So Jeremy, help us understand just a little bit more of why housing is just such an important investment for the community. I mean, what does the return look like for workforce, quality of life, and just long-term momentum?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of important for how you look at how do you get industry, how do you get commercial entities, how do you get entertainment entities. They all require people to use them, right? So having the population to go out and get new industries to move in here because you have a growing workforce is important. Having the shopping that those people that want to live here want is important. Having the entertainment that they want, the quality of life that they want is important. And all those are kind of centric to building housing. It's kind of like a three-legged tripod, right? If you cut one of them off, it's not going to stand. Well, housing is one of those legs that we need to do a better job of. We've always done a really good job of building industry here. We have, like I said, 21,000+ people that come in to Warsaw to work every day. But we've not done a great job in housing them. So that's what we're really trying to work on, is to create those housing opportunities to support the quality of life that we want, to support the shopping venues that we want, and to support our continued growth in the industries. When when we did the tech park, our main goal there was to create jobs, and we have, to the point where we've created 800 some jobs out there. But at the same time, we got to create housing opportunities for those people that are coming into our community.
Yeah.
So that's been our driving force, and it's not one segment of the population either. When we think about housing, we have to hit a lot of different spectrums. And, you know, whether it's market rate or affordable or single family or multifamily or duplexes or townhomes, is trying to create all of those different opportunities so that you're not just hitting one segment. We have done a pretty good job, I think, of doing that.
Yeah.
I think there's some growth and some things that we need to try to create some other opportunities that we've been working on. Some of that is creating more density, because the other side of that is the affordability side,
Sure.
which small communities face. And while we're certainly larger than Pearston and Silver Lake and Winona Lake and so forth, we still have the same challenges, which is infrastructure costs continue to go up. And so being able to create that density that can support the long-term growth of those infrastructure costs are important. So at the same time that we're creating housing opportunities, we're also trying to figure out how do we create higher density so that we can continue to maintain the quality of life and the infrastructure that we have to support those.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would say, too, I would just add to that, Jeremy, and I'm sure you've seen this research as well, but speaking to density, what my generation perceived as what I wanted as my first home, with a yard and a picket fence and all the things outside to plant a garden, whatever.
Sure.
Not everybody wants that anymore. A lot of the younger folks seem to want less maintenance. So more density within an addition is more feasible now, because
Right.
people don't want an acre, half acre lot that they have to mow. They don't want that. They want something that's much more efficient. They don't have to work outside a lot. It's walkable. We hear walkable a lot. We need a lot of trails. So there's a lot different.
Yeah.
I think the game has changed over the years as to what a new addition looks like.
Sure.
And what the market is asking for.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, we're all unique. We all have different preferences. We have multiple generations that are looking for that housing. Don, with that, I'm also aware that for a lot of folks, I mean, right now we're living through a difficult time and a very expensive time.
Yeah.
And for some folks, it may feel like housing feels really out of reach for me. How are some of the options, like entering in like a partnership with like a Club 720?
Yep.
How does that kind of help to open the door to maybe folks who are saying like, I'm not sure this is an option for me today?
Yeah, I think that's one of the barriers we find too, is that especially our 20s and 30s year old folks right now see that barrier. They're afraid of it. They don't want to cross it. They don't want to even, they're afraid of the entire event.
Yeah.
Owning is scary.
Yeah.
And what the Club 720 app that we're going to launch with Club 720, that will be Kosciusko Direct, will allow people to get onto this app that will provide them with coaching, financial assistance, and understanding. It will connect them to finance banks, local bankers that have packages that will help them with first-time home ownership, help them with down payment assistance. So it's going to be kind of a larger package to help educate a new homeowner, as well as help them finance what they're going to do. The other piece to that is these developments that we're working on. We're working to buy down the cost of the land as we develop it. Some of the most expensive pieces when you're building is what you don't see. It's not the house on top that costs as much as you think. It's the infrastructure under the ground, the things that aren't pretty, that nobody knows about or sees or thinks about on a daily basis, that drive the cost of a lot up to $50,000 to $80,000 before you ever build anything. So finding creative ways to capital stack each development and buy down the cost of that lot before we ever build on it will help shave some of that additional cost, because saying a house costs $300,000 to a new homeowner is very intimidating.
Yeah.
So finding ways to cut that cost down, still build a good, reliable product that people want to see in maybe a more compact area,
Yes.
a little more density in each area, and then provide them with the financial assistance they need, the education they need to help them feel confident as they go forward. So this is all going to be all inclusive as we roll this out to kind of help that exact buyer feel comfortable about getting into their first home.
Yeah.
And to that as well, some of the developments, and I know the city's been very good about getting rental developments underway. A lot of people, they don't want to own immediately. They want to rent. So we're seeing a lot of developers do mixed use.
Yeah.
A lot of like single family detached that you can purchase, and within the same development, a multifamily housing where you could rent.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, that's great. So really quickly, I've heard you use the term capital stack a couple of times. Yeah. So help me unpack that just for, anybody that's listening. The reality is you talk about these infrastructure needs of to help a developer to make a property attractive, to have them come in. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of work of bringing in the financial planning around that. So can y'all unpack that just a little bit for me?
Yeah, I mean, the Millworks, Union Station, Lofts are both projects that took a lot of different capital stacks of money to make those projects go. Both the Millworks and the Union Station Lofts have money from Ready 1 and 2.
So that's coming from the regional partnership through the state.
Yep. And then they have money from ORI, which is the Orthopedic Industry Retention Initiative. Mm-hmm. And then they both have bonds from the city, redevelopment bonds. So there's 3 different monies that were going into that. And then they have the private side, the private investment from the developers. And then they have the equity those developers need to take to make those projects go. So a lot of different hands in the pot there.
Sure.
To make those projects feasible.
Yeah.
And as Don mentioned, the infrastructure costs since the pandemic have been on steroids. So that's been a real challenge for everyone, even not just on your larger scale projects like the mixed use projects, but even on just single family homes. I mean, we went from a lot value somewhere in the $50,000 per lot up to $80,000 in 4 years.
Yeah.
So after the pandemic happened, with the material supplies and then the cost of that infrastructure going up, now we're dealing with those lot costs almost double what they were 5 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
And at the same time, with the inflation and then the increase in the interest rates, now all of a sudden borrowing money is more expensive. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So not only do you have the double whammy there with the interest rate, borrowing money is now more expensive. The cost to build is now more expensive, which has created a lot of strain on the people trying to get into the housing market. Pre-pandemic, obviously we had really low interest rates, which made borrowing money easy, cheaper.
Yeah.
Whether it was from an infrastructure, from a developer borrowing to build infrastructure to get return on their investment, or a homeowner borrowing money to buy the house, both were cheaper. Now both are more expensive,
Yes.
Which has led to the increase in the cost of to build housing. Mm-hmm. I had told a group not too long ago, Indiana's still very cheap to live in compared to other states.
Yeah.
However,
absolutely.
At the same time, if you were to compare us across those other states in growth, we were growing, our cost of land was growing 30% more than California's. So our growth in the cost of that land is increasing more, even though we're still cheap. Its growth rate, that cost to build and develop, is increasing 30% more than California. So at the same time, we're struggling with that because we're used to having a certain dynamic in what it costs to construct here, and that is changing. It's evolving.
Yeah.
The land values here are increasing, whether it be because of the cost of the land or the cost to put the infrastructure in, the value of the agriculture that we have. At the same time, if you look across the economy, not just us, we're servicing multiple different communities across the world. Those increases have increased the value of our land, which is another hurdle we have to overcome as we create housing development.
Yeah. But I appreciate that explanation because it just, to me, helps to shine a spotlight on this time, this era that we're living in. It all the more just takes a community to pull these things together to make these projects happen.
It really does. It's different than it was before the pandemic, or even before that. I think public-private partnerships are the norm as opposed to not anymore. Used to be a developer just, purchased land, built the development, sold it. That was it.
Yeah.
Maybe the town came in a little bit with you can have free tap fees or something like that. Very minuscule.
Our biggest challenge back in the day, to Dawn's point, was actually getting the development approved.
Yeah.
Right? Like going to the public meetings and making sure that you dealt with the surrounding people and making sure that, we're going to build houses here. Oh, no one likes houses. That was our biggest challenge
now,
15 years ago.
Now
our
it's
biggest challenge
it's cost prohibitive for any developer to build. So now they need help.
Yeah.
And if a community wants to grow, they have to invest in that. So it's not necessarily making a developer rich. That's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're getting the developer to want to build here because it's advantageous to them and us.
Yeah, it's easy to pick on developers, right?
Yeah.
Because they're supposedly making money.
Yeah.
But you have to, their problems are the same as a homeowner's problem, right? The homeowner who's going to the bank has to borrow money that's now more expensive, and it's more challenging for them to get that approval. What I think the general public doesn't understand is that developers also going to the bank to borrow money that's now more expensive and harder to get approval for because they are in the same atmosphere that a home buyer is. Money is harder to come by and money is more expensive to borrow.
Yeah.
And that double dynamic leads to both parties struggling to enter the housing, whether it's the developer trying to build it or the home buyer trying to buy it. The dynamic is the same.
So far, we've talked about the challenge and why housing matters, but it's also so important for us to connect and make this real with what's happening. One of the most visible examples of progress taking shape right now is Union Station Lofts at the former KEDCO site. We had a chance to hear directly from Shelby Bowen, president and owner of Bowen Capital, about what they're building, the response they're already seeing, and why collaboration has been such an important part of making this project possible. Let's listen in.
Shelby Bowen, president and owner of Bowen Capital. One of the things we focused on is how many amenities can we fit into this project. It's 80 apartments and sometimes you can't really do everything, but we've tried to do that here. We have the work from home center, which we're in here on the 4th floor. We've got the rooftop patio. We've got the cafe lounge downstairs. We've got an outdoor fire pit and grills. Indoor bike storage, pet spa, we've got some commercial space. We just tried to pack it in with all the best stuff that we've done. I'm really happy to say that as soon as we started pre-leasing, which has only been a couple weeks ago, we've had very strong feedback. We've got almost a dozen early reservations, and we're still, a month out from being finished. Really happy with the response. Folks, I think, are appreciative of what we've tried to provide here. Believe it or not, in the next 30 days, because we've got folks moving in April, it should probably take shape. This project, and we've done close to 20 projects since 2018. It's a lot. And we've worked in a lot of communities and counties across the state. This effort had more partners than any project that we've had. I mean, we had, of course, the city, KEDCO, OrthoWorks, the county, the Regional Development Authority, and the state of Indiana through the IEDC, Grace College. I mean, anybody and everybody has helped this initiative, and it would not really have been possible. And I mean that. It took a lot of folks really buying in for us to get here. So the collaboration was extraordinary from the beginning, and I can't wait for everybody to see that hard work pay off when we cut the ribbon.
Thank you, Shelby. I think what stands out there is that these projects are not just adding housing units, they're helping to create the kind of places people want to be a part of. So Jeremy, let's stay there for a moment. We've talked about these projects that the city in collaboration with some of these community organizations are making happen. Can you process just some of the decision-making behind some of those specific projects?
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge for one because we're limited with the amount of money that we have and how we can input those into projects. But I think the real challenge for us in any project is finding the right location that will have the impact that we want it to have. We sat on KEDCO property for 20 plus years. I mean, When I came in 2004, it had already been sitting there since 1999.
Wow.
And then you flash forward to last year when we broke ground on the Union Station Lofts. So it's finding the right time sometimes. Maybe it's timing. I mean, at the same time that has come about, we were working with Warsaw Chemical to relocate them, working on the Arnold property. So in that location, it was really about a lot of different dynamics and trying to fit all those in to make a community or a community space that people will want to live in, want to participate in. Millworks is a little bit different. I mean, it was an old grocery store, but finding those spots, those challenges with each of those spots is what we do on a daily basis, and trying to make those places become community places for people to live and enjoy opportunities, whether it be a restaurant or some kind of event space. So those challenges are all over the place.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just properties that have been abandoned. Sometimes it's trying to find the highest and best use for properties. I know I've talked a lot about this, and it's probably not something people want to talk about, but Fairgrounds is a prime example
Sure.
of a higher and better use property, right? At some point, we need to figure that out. But those are the challenges that we face, is going out and finding those properties that we can retool to make more purposeful within our community.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I think it's great. And you shine light on the fact that sometimes in this, we have to process hard conversations and hard decisions and what it means to help move the community forward for the betterment of all, right? So
yeah, I don't think anybody wanted to lose a grocery store downtown, but the
Right.
reality is the
Yeah.
markets change.
Yeah.
And when that market changed, how do we rebound? How do we reposition that property to be its highest and best use? So with the Millworks project, having the housing there that we want downtown to activate our businesses, to get the restaurants downtown, to create the employees that could live, work, and play all within a walking distance.
Yeah.
And at the same time, create a potential space that they can enjoy. And I'm hoping we can have an announcement shortly on that space within the Millworks.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate that perspective. Really, really good and helpful to consider that. So Don, you've mentioned with Club 720 and their app and what that's going to do to help first-time home buyers. Talk to me about what drew KEDCO to that group and just what was attractive about them and the fit for our community.
Sure. So in 2019, I believe, Heather Presley-Cowan, who is the head of that whole group, helped initiate a housing study in Kosciusko County. Okay. So she was familiar with this area. She works in the region, has done housing for quite some time. So actually one of our boards, KDLT, the Land Trust, brought, when we started to talk about the housing need in our outlying communities, obviously Jeremy's got Warsaw covered. We're here to help him too, but he's got it down pat. But our smaller communities wanted to grow as well.
Yeah.
And we were bringing all of these jobs here. And we knew, already we've got how many people coming into the county from outside the county to work every day that could be residents, as well as now we're going to draw another 2,400 people to work in new facilities that we've gotten. So we really felt that crunch of, you really do have to do something about housing. So Heather was introduced to myself and my team at KEDCO to work on housing. She came along, kind of gave us her information, what she does with Club 720 and the Housing Hub, and is just a wealth of knowledge and information. And her team is so helpful in helping us do that capital stack with our communities and help that government-private partnership kind of thrive and help those communities understand how we can all work together to get an end product that people can use. Yeah. The other thing that was so advantageous about her group and then that Club 720 app is that it will feed us the information we need to see what are the desires of folks that want to come here. Do they want to rent? Do they want to buy? Where do they want to live? What is the income base they're in, and what price point are they looking at? Yeah. So that app will collect all of that information, and on the backside, we can then get all of those statistics, which will help our developers when they go to get funding privately, that it shows the market is ready and ripe for the area, which gives a lender more confidence to lend.
Yeah.
So it's just a really good partnership for us, and we're just thrilled to have her.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, we've been talking about strategy, opportunity, and the bigger picture. And another project that really reflects that momentum is Millworks. We recently spoke with Dan Boecher of AP Management about the vision for the project, what it will bring to downtown Warsaw, and why partnerships across the city, county, and state have been so important in helping move it forward. Here's Dan.
My name is Dan Boecher. I'm the Director of Asset Management for AP Development. We are a company that focuses on developing multifamily properties in urban cores. In this case here with Millworks, we're developing new construction downtown Warsaw. It's going to have 86 units of apartments, as well as nearly 3,000 square feet of commercial space. We're really excited to have people who would love to live in proximity to the unique offerings downtown Warsaw and don't have a place to do it. Even though there's not a whole lot of verticality to it currently, so much work has been done to get to this point. And as far as opening, we are committed to a third quarter opening here in Warsaw. We're not exactly sure the timeline yet, and we're going to be looking to start pre-leasing in the coming months in the early summer. We've had to overcome some things along the way, but I'll tell you, our project partners have been there, and we're just really grateful that when things came up, as they always do in development, that we're able to find a solution and keep it grinding forward. But if it were not for those partners, were not for ORI and KEDCO, City of Warsaw, State of Indiana, IEDC, that we wouldn't be here. It takes all of that, all those entities working together and helping to make the numbers work to be able to get to start, to be able to offer what you're going to see here in the coming months. There's a momentum here, there's an optimism here. Warsaw is really a place that continue to transform and gain new momentum and new residents and new businesses in the coming years. You don't invest what we're investing here without being optimistic for the future of a community. So we feel very good about the direction of Warsaw.
Thanks, Dan. I think his perspective reinforces something we've heard throughout this conversation. Meaningful development takes alignment, trust, and a shared belief in where this community is headed. So Don, I want to take it back to the practical side for people as we start to wrap up our time here. What would you encourage people? What are next steps for people thinking about housing right now?
Yeah. So what I would encourage folks to do is watch the KEDCO website, watch our app, or watch our online presence on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Watch All in Kosciusko, because we'll certainly share it with you as well.
Yeah.
We will launch mid-May our Kosciusko Club 720 portion of the app. I would encourage everybody now, they can go online, they can go on the App Store and find the Club 720 app. Go ahead and get it on your phone, get it filled out. You can say Kosciusko or one of our communities is where you're looking to live and begin to start the process on there. So as that rolls out, though, we'll have a lot more publication coming forward for people to kind of see where they can get involved. We are hopeful that we can use our corporate partners in these communities to kind of go in and share with their employee base about the Club 720 app, about the additions that are coming to their area, so that they know they have the opportunity to live near where they work. So we'll be working closely with a lot of our corporate partners that are looking to get their employees to be near where they work. So We're excited about what's to come.
I'm excited. Can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
That's going to be great. Great. Well, Jeremy, as you look ahead and you're thinking about housing and mixed use developments, what's in the pipeline that you can share with us, and what are you excited about for the future?
Oh, I'm really excited about just continuing to create a variety of housing opportunities. One of the things I think we've done really well and we need to continue to do is to not focus on one segment over the other. It's easy to build the houses that sell quickly and that the profit margin's high on. It's harder to build the housing units that Dawn's helping with and those segments that need help, whether it be on the affordable side through the Club 720 or on the market rate side, but not necessarily single family home purchase. So we've continued to talk to a couple of different developers. We've got a project on the north side I'm hoping we can bring to fruition in the next 12 months. That'll be another mixed use apartment project, but it'll be on the affordable side.
Okay.
So a little bit different than some of the other affordable projects we have, because this has the potential to be a 4% project, not a 9%. which is the higher end of the affordable. So not as much money coming into those projects, but they are appealing to those segments of the population that are just beginners. Whether you're a new teacher, they would fit that classification, that need for that housing. At the same time, we have a couple of housing subdivisions we're working on the north side, and I'm really looking forward to. I've got a plan in front of me right now that I'm hoping to bring to the Redevelopment Commission in the next couple of months. That's going to create a vision for the south side of Warsaw, and that vision will be a different housing opportunities we could bring, but in a large plan. Looking at it from a large plan set. So taking in some property that we would still have to get some control over, so some unknowns there.
Sure.
But really trying to sell the community and sell developers on what the future of Warsaw could be on that south side. And it may include some mixed use. It may include some commercial, maybe trying. I know I hear a lot of, can we get a grocery store on the south side? Well, how do you get a grocery store on the south side? You got to create demand.
More people there.
So if we can wrap some kind of small grocer into a large scale residential development on the south side, then we may be able to kill two birds with one stone in that regard. So that's on the horizon, hoping to get that out in front of the community in the next couple of months, and get their feedback on what the south side of Warsaw should look like, and then the different housing opportunities we could bring.
Awesome. Awesome. Really exciting stuff. Well, Jeremy, Don, thank you so much for your time. And I just want to thank you both and your extended teams for the work that you all are doing for our community in just so many different ways and helping to move us forward. So housing is one of the clearest ways of seeing the future of community taking shape. It touches workforce, families, downtowns, employers, and the ability for people at every stage of life to put down roots here in Kosciusko County. And as we've heard today, solving the housing challenges takes more than one project or more than one organization. It takes collaboration, it takes vision, and it takes a community willing to move forward together. And that is what All in Kosciusko is about. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the podcast. To learn more about the people, projects, and partnerships helping to move Kosciusko County forward, visit allinkosciusko.com and stay connected with us for more stories about the progress shaping our community. Thank you so much.